And we're live. Welcome in. I am the real underscore G Warner. Slightly better hair today, so we're gonna go right at it. Hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. It is Friday morning still in the United States, but we're getting ready for some European soccer that begins this afternoon. As always, going to start where the money is, and that's the English Premier League. And Saturday we got the first matchup. So I made all my lines myself. I have not looked at lines yet. So this is going to be live. I see them as you see them. So we start with Newcastle visiting Arsenal, getting a goal and a quarter. Newcastle with a lot of hype, fanfare over their new manager coming in, Eddie Howe, who had a COVID issue or something and wasn't on the sideline, touchline last week. Don't really see a lot of change in their side. They still have to add a ton of players over the January transfer window. Arsenal got smacked around by Liverpool. I think it showed how far off they are from the top. But ultimately, Newcastle are not one of those teams, and I'm not interested in backing them. Next is Crystal Palace hosting Villa, giving a quarter of a goal. Villa got controlled for 85 minutes or so last match day, and somehow got a goal late on the counterattack because Brighton just pushed forward too much. I think really because they didn't respect the opponent towards the end of the match, because Aston Villa were lifeless. Not really interested in backing a lifeless team on the road, getting a quarter of a goal, as that's a pretty much equal team, but they're playing at home type of number. And Crystal Palace played pretty well. Giving up 3 goals to Burnley was surprising last weekend and certainly deserves some demerits. But I'm looking to back them moving forward if I can as an underdog, but not tomorrow. Liverpool hosting Southampton. Currently, Southampton getting a goal in 3 quarters with all the juice on the Southampton side. Might be falling to 1.5. Liverpool are just thrashing teams. Dominated Arsenal. Arsenal sat back and tried to counter, had a few opportunities, but never really even resulted in anything to trouble Alisson in goal. Southampton have defensive issues against the bigger clubs, which I think most teams that don't have a huge budget would. They've been pretty good at winning 1-0, but I think they're going to need a goal to hang around with Liverpool. Liverpool coming off midweek with some rotation, also not a great time to catch them when they've got some rested legs, if they do. Van Dijk didn't play in Champions League after they clinched. So I don't know that Southampton, it's a big number, that's for sure. But I think I'll leave it there. Norwich City then hosting Wolves, getting a quarter of a goal with all the juice on the Wolves side, looking like that might climb to 1/2 of a goal on the road. The Wolves offense is not that great. Hard to trust them to lay any sort of thing on the road, especially when it's going to climb up to a draw, wins a full bet on Norwich. Dean Smith coming in, I'm not sure how much he helps, but seemed to be a new manager bounce, at least in that first opener. And that's a big deal. But I'm not sure that I really want to get involved there, though. Definitely lean Norwich. And as that hits a 1/2 of a goal, it becomes a lot more interesting. Brighton then hosting Leeds, currently giving 1/2 of a goal. All the juice on the Leeds side. Maybe this falls to a quarter. Brighton, it's weird because they were getting too much respect last season and not enough respect this season. And the results have been better this season. Last one, they were so far from deserving, at least in the points total. Leeds, on the other hand, though, have no real goal-scoring threat. They're going to have to push forward and really play on the front foot to score, which they were doing anyway, but they have to do it more now without Bamford and really without a lot of options. I'm not sure about Rafinha's status for this one. Maybe he plays. The line kind of suggests that he will if this falls to a quarter. But they're really devoid of attacking threats, and that's a big problem when their defense is as porous as it is. Moving to Sunday, Brentford hosting Everton, currently giving a quarter of a goal, and that says something that the newly promoted side is and playing as poorly as Brentford have. While Everton, a storied club who have not played well, defense has been an issue for them. Richarlison suspended, I believe, for this one. I'm not sure Dominic Calvert-Lewin is back. So there's a lot of issues in the Everton attack, even with their best players in there. Issues in defense for sure as well. Brentford have some good attackers. Mbomo and Tony are really, really big threats up front. I think Everton getting a quarter as an underdog player is interesting to me, but I'm not sure based on what they've been showing over the past month or so, maybe longer. I'm not sure that's something that I can believe in and really want to lose money throwing on them. But Brentford, to be fair, and this is why I lean Everton, Brentford have been really bad for a month and a half now, are dealing with I think newly promoted issues where when your players get hurt, you don't have good fill-ins. And I think that they're drifting towards relegation, and that pressure is only going to increase every week that they keep playing so poorly. Burnley hosting Tottenham, currently getting a half of a goal at home. All the juice in the Burnley side. Tottenham with a rough result midweek in continental play and European play. Conte came out and said how he doesn't have enough, but that's kind of squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's what he always does. Burnley have been scoring a ton of goals. Hard to not look at them where a draw at home wins a bet, wins a full unit. Tottenham with Harry Kane and Sonny on the pitch still fell behind the Leeds, which is almost unfathomable based on where Leeds are. But it seems like the name is favored and what's on the pitch right now, and their team doesn't look like it deserves it, though they did credit them for coming back from a 1-0 deficit to equalize, then win 2-1. Leicester hosting Watford, giving 3/4 of a goal at home. With all the juice on the Leicester side, maybe this climbs to 1. I don't want to overreact to Watford's performance against Manchester United. I almost played them last weekend, didn't do it. And of course, they had a destructive win that got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sacked. I think at 1, I'm interested. Watford are going to sit back, defend, and try to counter. I'm a little bit worried about the health of Sarr, who I guess hurt his knee, and of course yawns during a podcast are always great. But until I get 1, I think it's gonna be hard. I'm going to try to stay away from Watford. Leicester have just been so bad, and I don't think a lopsided victory midweek against a European team really says enough to me. Manchester City then hosting West Ham, giving a goal and a half with all the juice in the Man City side. Tough for them to come back from 1-0 and looking like they're in big trouble to even lose and potentially lose their Champions League group. But eventually PSG either went for the win when they brought in Di Maria, or just maybe their defensive finally fell apart. I think West Ham are going to play solid defense, though. So we know we're going to get that. We know we're going to get that from Man City as well. I think an over-under of 3 is based on Man City and their reputation. I think this is a low-scoring match. And so that makes 1.5 very, very interested to me on West Ham. With all of their flaws for sure and not having a ton of offense, I do think that they can play Man City tight, especially Man City after spending a lot of energy and having a lot of players missing for that PSG match. I think as this keeps climbing, I get only more and more interested as I yawn more and more to back West Ham. And we'll see. It's trending towards 1.75. And as it keeps climbing, where you get some sort of a push on if they lose by 2 goals, I mean, that's going to be really hard for me to resist. Last but not least, Chelsea hosting Manchester United, giving a full goal. Not sure about Lukaku and his availability. Chelsea don't really seem to need him. Defense has been great. They were controlled Juve as much as you can. It's pretty nice that they get a home game right after that, after another home match, so they don't have to go anywhere. Travel's very light. United getting a full goal is interesting. They should be on their back foot, playing defensively and then trying to counterattack, which is a good situation for them, and that's how they want to be. I think getting a full goal of insurance is nice. Problem is that second goal is more likely to go in than the first. So if United can get a lead, then +1 looks really good. Or if they can hold out and play defensively against Chelsea for a long time, it looks really good. I'm not sure about what Carrick's gonna employ for this match, but from where I sit, +1 is of interest, but I'm not sure it'll make my card unless something else happens, I think, down the stretch. So then we're going to move from the Premier League, now that that's over with, to La Liga. We have a match today. Athletic Club hosting Granada, giving a goal and a quarter. Athletic Club keep giving bigger numbers than they deserve, and it hasn't really been working out very well for them. Granada were not someone I really wanted to back here, I'll admit. But 1.25 is too much. I think Athletic Club want to sit back, counterattack, play defensive football. That works really well as an underdog against the big sides. But Granada, they should control. And Granada's defense certainly didn't look great against Real Madrid, and they look old and struggling with pace and all that sort of stuff. And Iñaki Williams certainly has that for Athletic Club. But trusting them to score twice is a big ask, I think. And that means Granada would have to not score for that to be an issue. So Granada could get on the board, then taking a goal on a quarter looks pretty nice as the odds keep rolling in. Moving to Saturday, Alaves hosting Celta de Vigo. Celta on the road as a pick 'em, but with all the juice. if this climbs to a quarter, I'll be on Alaves. Celta de Vigo are a great offense that isn't performing. Have always had a bad defense for the last few seasons. Iago Aspas is getting older and older and older every day that goes by. It's like 3 days for him, 7 days, dog years, whatever. I think Alaves have been playing better. Getting a quarter will make my card, and I'm hoping it gets there. Valencia then hosting Rayo Vallecano, giving half of a goal. Rayo have been crushing me and the rest of La Liga at home with a great counterattacking style. They're lethal on the counterattack. I don't see why we would trust Valencia to win this match. And all the juices on the Rayo side, so maybe this falls to a quarter, but I still think that's enough for me to back Rayo. Based on a level of confidence, they're in the European places right now. Valencia have fallen off after a decent start. Mallorca then hosting Getafe, giving a quarter of a goal at home. Mallorca looked awful against Rayo. Their defense was wide open, got carved up. Can Getafe do that? I don't think so. Mallorca's defense has been really good this season, and I trust them to defend, even though they're coming off a really poor defensive performance. Getafe, on the other hand, have shown a little bit more offense under their new manager. I don't know what has changed really. Maybe just luck of the green, rub of the green, whatever. But getting a quarter is interesting to me against a Mallorca team that don't really look like they're threatening offensively, and they want to play defense, which doesn't work when you're a favorite. Villarreal then hosting Barcelona. Pick them with all the juice on the road Barcelona side. I'll be looking to back Villarreal if this climbs to a quarter, as I think Barcelona are way off the pace, and Xavi sounds like he's playing the youngsters. But at pick them, not much for me to do yet. I think it might climb to a quarter, and then I'll be looking a lot more at this. Moving to Sunday, Betis hosting Levante. Currently, Levante getting 3/4 of a goal on the road. Thought this might be bigger. Betis with a good performance in midweek. Still doesn't hide their flaws. They smacked Elche around with an early goal and a bunch of mistakes and all that sort of stuff, but credit them for taking advantage of that. Levante have really struggled. New manager came in, has fortified them a little bit defensively. If they're starting Shkodran Mustafi, that's still a disaster. And I'm not really sure that I want to go against Betis, who probably can pummel an inferior side at home. And there's no goal of insurance here, really, at least not yet. Espanyol then hosting Real Sociedad. Currently, Espanyol getting a quarter at home. Sociedad have not been that impressive. Oyarzabal did return for Europa League midweek. That didn't go very well at Monaco. Espanyol with a really good performance, I think, against Barcelona last weekend. Deserved a victory and somehow lost. But it happens, I guess, when the officials just give penalties for no contact or contact on the ball that should have never been given, and they somehow get it held. Upheld. Espanyol, I think they're great on set pieces. Defensively, they're going to have some trouble with Real Sociedad because that's where Sociedad makes their money, I guess. They've got great attacking players, but they haven't really been delivering attacking results. So I'm interested in the home dog. Cadiz getting a full goal from Atleti is certainly of interest to me as a play against Atleti, though Cadiz are going to give possession away the whole time. We're going to sit back and defend, try to close gaps and make it as hard on Atleti to score as possible. At the current +1, decent result. This ends 1-0 and you get your money back, which is interesting to me at home because that's really just trying to make a play that Cadiz can score once. If they do score once, I think a push is pretty safe. I don't see Atleti getting 3, though it depends when that first goal from Atleti does come in. I think that Atleti have been really struggling. I don't think Simeone is going to go anywhere, but he's been tinkering with his back line, changing from back 4 to back 3, all these sort of things. That's not a great sign for Atleti coming off La Liga championship and now with a lot of pressure on them to even make Europa League because Champions League is now seeming very, very difficult for them to continue in the knockout rounds. Cadiz are really tough to back, though, because if they fall behind, they have such a little offense that still are going to give a ton of possession away and maybe come out in the last few minutes, which is another big risk. But you're basically betting Cadiz to play well early and then hope they hang on defensively or hang on defensively the whole time. Real Madrid then hosting Sevilla, giving 3/4 of a goal, way big. I tried to make my line as big as possible, and I couldn't get here. Sevilla certainly have had some flaws lately, but Real Madrid, this is a number based on the name of their club. They certainly have great attacking players, but have to win by more than a goal to take a full unit for me. It's going to be really hard for me to avoid Sevilla, who I think are very competitive, are going to try to have as much possession as possible to limit Real Madrid, who might be best on the counterattack, but still they're not very quick besides Vinny Jr. And I think the late runs in the box with the midfielders, I don't know if that's really going to be in play for this matchup. Moving to Monday, we have Osasuna hosting Elche. Osasuna giving half of a goal, all the juice on the Osasuna side. And if I had a little bit more faith in Elche, I think I would back them. They looked awful in their last match. They probably get a response to that. And Osasuna can't score. But unfortunately, Elche was such a bad look for them in the past match. I mean, I'm hoping they bounce back. And Osasuna, if this keeps climbing, it's going to be really hard for me to avoid Elche. But Osasuna, they've been really poor, haven't been scoring goals at all lately. So they're a pretty sizable favorite considering. But they did catch a team that could help them bounce back. One of the best ones to draw besides maybe Cadiz. Moving to Serie A, we have Cagliari hosting Salernitana today on Friday. Cagliari, half a goal favorite, all the juice on their side, likely climbing. Cagliari's offense, can't say much about it because it doesn't really exist. So as they're a bigger and bigger favorite, it makes me want the other side more and more. Salernitana, I really didn't like them coming into the season. They had a really tough start, have, I think, normalized a little bit or tried to get up to the Serie A levels. I think at 3/4 of a goal, it's going to be hard for me to lay off. And that one starts in a couple hours. So I'm a little more interested than I thought I'd be in Salernitana. Move to Saturday. Empoli hosting Fiorentina, getting a 1/4 of a goal at home. All the juice on Fiorentina. Empoli have been playing better. I think had a tough late concession that cost them the match against Hellas Verona. Fiorentina's offense is problematic, not great, not good, really, in my opinion. They certainly added Nico Gonzalez, and he's really important to their offense. But without him really producing, it seems to be Dusan Vlahovic, who was great last weekend. Maybe that happens again, continues, etc. And a big win against AC Milan certainly helps and probably puts this line where it does. But as it keeps climbing, I like what I've seen from Empoli so far. I don't think that Fiorentina's offense on the road is really that strong. And though they're newly promoted, I'm pretty interested in Empoli. Sampdoria hosting Verona. Verona pick them, but all the juice on their side on the road, likely climbing to a 1/4 of a goal. Samp aren't a team that I really want to back. Their aged offense doesn't really do much, and Verona are great. I'm just hoping Verona keep it up so they play some more big clubs so I can get them as a big underdog. Juve then hosting Atalanta, giving a 1/4 of a goal, all the juice on the Juve side, so it might be climbing to a half. Probably makes sense based on these two teams underachieving. Juve with a really poor performance at Chelsea midweek. Atalanta had a back and forth affair with young boys. I don't know really what to say, but I guess Atalanta as an underdog are interesting because Juve are dealing with a lot of injuries. Their offense is really questionable. The problem with Atalanta is they're going to be pretty open and leave Juve a lot of chances, which you don't really want to give them. I think the way to play Juve right now as an underdog is to make them come out and try to score on you. And that will give you some chances to score yourself. I think Juve with the lead are really tough to beat though. And that's going to be what Allegri brings to them this whole season, at least in Serie A, as opposed to the European competitions where they're probably going to be trailing or playing defensively. I think they go into a shell once they take a lead, and Atalanta then are even more exposed. So whoever gets that first goal is probably going to decide this one. Venezia, and that's not different to say because that's in every match, really every soccer match. Venezia then hosting Inter. Currently, Inter giving a 1.25 on the road. Venezia have been playing really well. They've been great defensively. Offense hasn't really done too much, but they did steal a win in their last match, playing a lot of defense, and then finally take their one chance that they got, and that was enough. Inter are going to push them back the whole time, and I'm worried about them keeping Inter from scoring. Though Inter's goals never seem to be easy this season. They seem to come after like 3 are ruled out for offsides, like happened in the Champions League play during midweek. Venezia are interesting and based on form probably deserve a much harder look, but I'm going to try to avoid them on Saturday evening in Italy. Udinese hosting Genoa, currently giving half of a goal, all the juice on the Udinese side, so it might climb to 3/4. Genoa really are great at falling behind and then trying to fight their way back, and they don't have a lot of offense to do that. Udinese have been scoring a lot more. Defense has been weaker, but I'm not sure that Genoa can really take advantage of that. AC Milan then hosting Sassuolo, giving a full goal, Milan off a great late winner that kept them alive in Champions League, which is huge. Have to then go home after winning in the Wanda Metropolitano in Eastern Madrid, and then have to come back to Milan to host Sassuolo, who are going to try to score a bunch of goals. I think Sassuolo, their defense is going to hold them back here, though. Milan, even with Giroud going off with an injury, Ibrahimovic, as old as he is, there's still a lot in that AC Milan side, and they're playing a very attacking brand of football, and I like that. I don't really like Sassuolo defense. Spezia then hosting Bologna, getting a quarter of a goal at home, most of the juice on the Spezia side. Bologna with Arnautovic are a different offense this season. Great signing by them after a good Euro for him. Spezia are going to try to be aggressive, try to score goals, and that's an issue against Bologna, who are usually have to come out and try to press forward to get space, but they're going to have that here. I'm not sure that's an underdog I want to back. Spezia have really fallen to a team I don't really want to look for. Really, it's best to, unless to be against them as a favorite. And how often is that going to happen? Roma then hosting Torino, giving a 3/4 of a goal. It's a big number for Roma to lay. Torino, I think, have kind of been off my radar for a little bit because they've been playing as in a favorite role the last few weeks or month. I'm interested in them as a 3/4 goal underdog. I think they're going to try to boss possession, and that's going to be a fight, and that might leave them exposed against Roma. But even losing by a goal, you only lose half a unit. And I do think Torino have a good shot to beat Roma, who I think are really flawed, have struggled. Mourinho is, they got a great performance from a young 18-year-old or whatever, scoring a bunch of goals in continental play, but I'm not sure that's good enough against the Serie A club, who've been really good this year. Napoli then hosting Lazio in the nightcap of the weekend. Napoli giving 3/4 of a goal, all the juice on Lazio. Maybe this falls to a half. I think Lazio had a good performance midweek, but had a big number, maybe because big number change because Immobile was announced. I still don't know that he's that big of a deal to their offense, and I'm not sure that I want to go against Napoli because they just thrash teams at home and usually thrash my bets when they're at home because I usually feel like they're overpriced. And here I actually don't necessarily think they're overpriced, especially if this falls to a half of a goal. And I think that they've done enough that I'm not looking to be against them unless I have to be. Moving to the Bundesliga, Stuttgart hosting Mainz. Pick them right now for a Friday match. Mainz have shown that they can score goals with a defensive mindset. They're a good team, but they're not great in a favorite role. If they close an underdog here against Stuttgart, that's going to be really hard for me to resist. Stuttgart with a good performance against Borussia Dortmund, but they're so far from their top performing level that I can't even say good things about Stuttgart. I wouldn't be shocked if I missed Pellegrino Matarazzo being sacked. I think he's under pressure. It's not really his fault because all his team is hurt, but they're a really bad team right now. And at Pick'em, I think that makes sense. Most of the juice is on their side right now. I hope this climbs because Mainz are a team that I want to back against them. Cologne then hosting Borussia Mönchengladbach in a big rivalry match. Gladbach, a quarter goal favorite on the road, but all the juice on the Cologne side, and it's a big juice. So it's probably a Pick'em. Big rivalry, not a lot for me to do with Pick'em, but interested in whoever's the dog here if that climbs back to a quarter and a reasonable price. Greuther Fürth hosting Hoffenheim, a 3/4 of a goal underdog at home. All the juice in Hoffenheim looks like this might climb to 1. Might be some overreaction. Hoffenheim really controlling and demolishing Red Bull Leipzig at home, but their offense is completely different on the road. Fürth are just not really a quality side that I can consider losing money on, so I'm not going to do it. Even at 1, probably not. Hertha Berlin then hosting Augsburg, currently giving a quarter of a goal with all the juice on the Hertha side. Glad I didn't back them against Union in the derby last weekend. Was pretty interested in the rivalry aspect, but Augsburg are a better team coming off the Bayern win. I mean, possible they were partying all week, but I don't even know if that's enough for me to scare me away. I mean, playing with Bayern, I didn't watch the match, but seeing that they won was pretty impressive, extremely impressive. One of the bigger surprises that I ever saw. I thought it was a misprint at first. Hertha as a favorite or who exactly I want to be against. Augsburg's offense is not pretty, but Hertha isn't either. So pretty interested in that, especially if it climbs to a half. Bochum hosting Freiburg. Freiburg giving a quarter of a goal on the road. Tough performance last week. We're controlling a lot of that match and then had 2 kind of lapses or freak goals, 1 freak goal, 1 lapse. Lost 2-0, fought really hard to get back in it, never could. Bochum are going to play really solid defense. They're going to make it hard on Freiburg, and Freiburg as a road favorite doesn't seem to happen very often, even against newly promoted sides. I think Bochum are going to make it tough, and I'm not sure that I'm really believing in Freiburg performing on the same level that they've kept so far this season. Great start from them, and I'm happy for it. But I think Bochum are the only side to look at in this one. I have to do a little bit more digging, to say the least. Wolfsburg then hosting Borussia Dortmund. Pick 'em with all the juice on Dortmund on the road. If Wolfsburg are an underdog, I'm playing them. Dortmund are a disaster. Shell themselves. Defense is bad. Offense is injured and bad. Wolfsburg have plenty of flaws themselves, but as a quarter goal underdog at home, which I might get to, I think that'll be on my card. Bayern then hosting Arminia Bielefeld in the Saturday night window. Bayern giving 2 3/4 goals, and looks like the juice is suggesting that hits 3. Angry team. Didn't have to play everybody for Champions League midweek. Bielefeld are going to be hanging on for dear life this whole time. The problem is there's so many 5 and 7 nils that go on that seeing Bielefeld lose 2-0, it could happen, but I feel like that's a low probability scenario. And if Bielefeld can score, then that's a big deal, but Bayern could still win 4-1 or 5-1 or 6-1 higher. Moving to Sunday, Eintracht Frankfurt hosting Union Berlin. Union with a quarter goal underdog on the road. All the juice on Union. It's a little bit cheaper than I expected. I'm not in love with Frankfurt this season. Don't believe in them offensively. I think Union as an underdog is very interesting, even coming off both playing midweek. At least both played on Thursday, so that's helpful, I guess, that there's not a huge rest advantage of this is on the road, which is a little bit difficult. 2 road games in the same week. I see that in other sports being a problem. But Union ultimately as a quarter goal underdog does interest me for sure. Hoping that juice gets a little bit easier to swallow. Leipzig then hosting Leverkusen. Currently Leverkusen getting 3/4 of a goal on the road. Leipzig have been better at home, thrashed Bruges midweek, and that was good for them. Needed that really badly, probably. But they haven't played very well. Their offense has been pretty questionable. Gulashi is probably out again with COVID. Leverkusen, they have been a little bit better lately. I think they can score goals. Leipzig, I have less of a belief in that. Leipzig ultimately, if they win by 1, you only lose half a unit. It's going to be hard for me to resist. Leverkusen, they got plenty of issues for sure, but Leipzig have a lot to be a favorite of that size. And last but not least, as we're 27 minutes in, my favorite number, we'll go through Ligue 1. Lens today hosting Angers, giving 3/4 of a goal. It's bigger than they've been playing lately. Got thrashed last weekend. Probably will react and play a lot better. I think Angers +1 will be on my card. I don't see it getting there, though. Lille hosting Nantes. Currently Nantes getting 3/4 of a goal with all the juice on the Lille side. As this climbs to 1, I'm more and more interested on playing Nantes. Lille have been playing they're really hot with Jonathan David. He's their goal scorer now, not Burak Yilmaz. If Burak comes back and starts to produce, that's a big deal, but I don't know how you can believe that's going to happen. Nantes have been playing better than I think I would have expected this season. Like them a fair amount. Nice hosting Metz, the nightcap on Saturday. Nice giving a goal and a quarter. Metz, incredible fight from down trailing and with 10 men to equalize and take a 3-3 draw. But I think that's what the best case scenario they're looking for. They were always a team that was going to give up a lot of goals. They don't have a lot of goal scorers. Niguet played so well last weekend, I think coming on as a substitute. I could be wrong on that. But ultimately, Nice and Gaultier are someone I'm really scared to go against. As a big favorite, I'm a little bit less scared, but Mets are not a side that I want to play on right now, as I think they're a lower budget team that sells their good players, and that's not a good recipe. Saint Etienne then hosting PSG, getting a goal and a half seems a little bit low based on the performance midweek, which I don't think was that bad from PSG on the road at one of the best teams in the world, or maybe the best team in the world, Champions League favorite. Saint Etienne are playing a little bit better, got 2 wins, one they didn't deserve, that they came back with 3 goals in the last 10 minutes of the match, 2 in stoppage time to go from losing to a win, but followed up with a good win last weekend, and I think it was deserved. Ultimately, I'd like to go against PSG, but they've had such an easy time scoring goals in this league that it's hard to think that that's a good idea. Lorient and Rennes. Lorient getting 3/4 of a goal at home. Rennes are the hottest team in League 1, and they're not a team I want to go against without getting a full goal based on how Lorient's defense has played this season, more so recently. Bordeaux then hosting Brest, giving 1/4 of a goal. Bordeaux have been playing well, good at equalizing when they fall behind, but falling behind is not good in this sport. Brest, I think, our side I'm looking at, very expensive juice right now, though, and likely trends towards Pick'em, but I think it'll close 1/4, and Brest will probably be on my card. Reims hosting Clermont Foot, currently Clermont getting 1/4 on the road. All the juice on the Clermont side, so might fall to Pick'em. I think Reims have been great to me, playing really well this season and have been underrated by the marketplace. Not sure that's anything different here. If it falls to pick them, it'll interest me, but I don't see them being an underdog. And I think Clermont, who likes to play on the front foot, is a big help, but I'm not sure that is going to work against Reims. I guess as an underdog, a team with possession is always of interest. However, Monaco hosting Strasbourg, giving 3/4 of a goal at home. No crowd effect really for them. And Strasbourg have been playing pretty well. Their offensive, they added, got a late equalizer against Reims last weekend to steal a point that they didn't really deserve, in my opinion. But I like Strasbourg. Their defense has not been as good this season, but their offense has been a lot better, and that was a big flaw of theirs last season. Monaco can't score. So I'll pay to see them beat me by 2 to take a full unit, or if they even win by 1, which I'm not sure that they will. Then they've had a lot of discipline issues, Reds, in both their last matches. Not a great sign. Montpellier hosting Lyon, getting 3/4 of a goal. Lyon got to rest players midweek after already winning their group in Europa League. Montpellier with a really tough performance against Rennes last weekend, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to fall too far away from them, as I think they're still really good and have an offense that can hang with Lyon. Ultimately, their defense is going to decide this one. So you have to keep Lyon from scoring 3 goals here, basically. If they give up 2, and Montpellier can get on the board, then we're close, only losing half a unit. I'm interested in being against Lyon. They've been, I think, pasting me a fair amount recently, but I don't like their defense. I think Montpellier can cause problems there, and I think Montpellier are still underrated, have been playing better. Last but not least, the nightcap in France, assuming this one doesn't get called off or someone doesn't throw a battery, though Troyes I don't think is inspiring that. Marseille, 1-goal favorite to Troyes at home. Pretty standard juice right here. Not sure that Troyes are good enough for me to want to back them, though Marseille as a 1-goal favorite, there's a lot of safety in that +1, as they haven't looked as good offensively in a while. So that will go through or episode 56 wrapped all of the European soccer schedule this Thanksgiving weekend here in the US. It doesn't matter to Europe, clearly. But I'm the real _G Warner. Hit me on Twitter if you got some questions, or wherever else you see this video, YouTube, StreamYard, wherever you're consuming. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. College basketball stuff. I might have some stuff later tonight, but I haven't really liked the card so far today. The real G Warner on Twitter. Hit me. See you soon.